Happy Monday, Virtual Rockets. Today we have a new set of spelling words and a new spelling pattern. I want you to look and listen and see what you see and what you hear that's the same as last week and what might be different than last week. I'm going to pull up our new spelling words, and our first read, try to read with me, and if not, just listen to the words. When I read them again, see if you can read them with me. I'm going to read across the page. Liked, spilled, baked. Using, making, hiding. Writing, closed, standing. Chased, hoping, asked. I'm going to read those again. Listen for what you hear that sounds the same. Try to read them with me and listen to what your mouth is saying at the end of those words. Liked, spilled, baked. Using, making, hiding. Writing, closed, standing. Chased, hoping, asked. Hopefully you're seeing and hearing those endings just like we had last week, those EDING endings. What's different than last week's pattern? And to think about that, let's look at our 4 review words. Hopping, clapped, pinned, cutting. Last week we also had the ING-ED ending, but every single one of our words had a double letter in the middle. So in the middle of hopping, we had the double P, clapped, pinned, double N, cutting, double T. So we still had that ING or ED ending, but our rule last week was to double the consonant and add the ending. So remember the word like hopping, hop, is just H-O-P. So we wouldn't normally spell hop with 2 P's at the end, but when we add the ending, we add the double consonant and the ending. This week we have words that don't need their consonant doubled. Instead, we can add the ending right on. So let's look at a word like using. We're not doubling the S, we're not doubling the E, but what did have to happen? We have to drop the E before we add the ending. So this week we do have a rule about what has to happen to the end of that root word, but it's not a double letter rule. It's a drop the E, add ING. Writing, R-I-D-E. We don't want to double anything. We want to drop the E, add ING. What about making? The root word of making would be make. I make breakfast. But if I am making breakfast, I can't just add ING. I don't need to double a letter. I drop the E, add ING. Let's clean this off a little bit and see if we can just pick out the endings of all of our new words first. So last week we had double consonants in the middle, then we added ING or ED. Because we still have the same endings this week, let's go ahead and pick those out first. Let's highlight all of the words we see that end in ED, past tense. Liked, past tense. Spilled, baked. Closed, asked, chased. All of those things already happened. It's what we call past tense, so we add ED so we know that it's not happening right now. It's not happening in the future. It already happened. If it's happening right now, then we do want to add an ING. I'm riding my bike right now. I'm making a cake right now. Hiding, standing, using, hoping. I'm hoping that something will happen right now. Why is it important that words like hoping and hopping are spelled differently? If we didn't have this double consonant in hopping, we wouldn't know how to pronounce that word correctly, and that's why words have different rules. So let's look at some other examples that aren't our spelling words but follow that ed-ing pattern. So the first thing I want to do is just read and listen to these words. So read with me or just listen to column 1. Walked, painting, drinking, biking. Column 2. Watching, tasting, named, making. Column 3. Taking, looked, biting, shaking. First, I just want to pick out those endings. Let's go through with a blue highlighter, just each column. In column 1, what words do you see that already happened? It's past tense and it ends in an ed. Walked. What about column 2? Named. Column 3. Looked. All of our words have those ed-ing endings, so anything that doesn't have an ed means it's happening right now. It has an ing. I'm painting right now. I'm making something right now. I'm biting into something right now. And remember, what's important to note about our words this week are, let's try biting. B-I-T. If I just take off ing, I'm left with B-I-T, bit. But the word isn't bit, the word is bite. So I need to take off my E before adding ing. Taking. If I take off the ing, I have T-A-K, and that says tack. I don't want tack, I want take. So in order to say I'm taking something right now, take off the E, add ing. The other part of this rule, which is always a little bit confusing to my brain, is that we use the same rule for ed that we do for ing. So if I have named, if I take off the ending, and remember the ending is ed, the E and the D are both the ending, not just the E, not just the D. So if I take off the ending, I'm left with N-A-M, ma'am. I don't want nam, I want name. So even though I still have an E, once I add back that ed ending, I'm going to tell my brain the same rule so that I make sure it looks correct every single time. I'm going to drop the E and add ed. Okay, so whenever we have an E at the end of a word, like with take, bite, or name, or like with use, ride, close, chase, hope, bake, we need to drop the E before we add the ending, even if the ending has an E in it. It's a good rule to train our brain to drop that E and add our ending. So today we're just kind of getting familiar with this new rule. So what I'm going to ask for you guys to do on Canvas is to pick one ed word and one ing word from our spelling list. Okay, so from our spelling list, our actual spelling words, just pick one of each word. Record a video of yourself just using it in a sentence. We need to start training our brains or reminding our brains that ed means past tense, ing means present. So that ing, ed ending, it has the same meaning as it did last week. We're just following some different rules to create those new words. So my example, she liked the book. I am using a pen to write. So you can't use my examples, but pick 2 words, one ED, one ING, and record a video of yourself and upload them. I want to hear you guys reading our new spelling words this week.